Scientists just confirmed what parents feared most. Your child's brain is being rewired, right now, while they scroll. And the research coming out of some of the world's top medical institutions isn't just alarming, it's something every parent, teacher, and teenager needs to hear. Because this isn't about screen time rules anymore. This goes much, much deeper than that. Deep inside your brain sits a pathway called the mesolimbic dopamine system. Scientists have known for decades that this is the same pathway hijacked by drugs, gambling, and alcohol. And according to a 2025 peer-reviewed study published in the Journal of Psychiatry and Psychiatric Disorders, social media is activating that exact same pathway in your child's brain. Every like, every notification, every comment, triggers a dopamine hit. Here's how the trap works. When your child gets a notification, a like, a comment, a new follower, their brain releases dopamine. That feel-good chemical floods the reward center, and the brain immediately wants more. But here's what makes social media more dangerous than most people realize. The rewards are unpredictable. Sometimes a post gets 200 likes. Sometimes it gets 3. That unpredictability doesn't reduce the craving, it amplifies it. The same mechanism used in slot machines. Approximately 24% of adolescents now meet the clinical criteria for social media addiction. That's 1 in 4 teenagers, addicted. Not attached, not habitual, addicted, by the same neurological definition we use for substances. Since 2012, rates of anxiety, depression, and ADHD in adolescents have surged to levels researchers describe as a public health emergency. The research is now showing a direct connection. Teenagers who spend more than 3 hours per day on social media are significantly more likely to develop anxiety and depression. That's not an opinion, that's from large-scale, peer-reviewed data. It's not just dopamine, serotonin, the neurotransmitter that regulates mood, stress resilience, and emotional stability, is also being disrupted. When adolescents tie their self-worth to likes, follower counts, and comments, serotonin levels drop, self-esteem erodes. And the more they seek external validation online, the worse the cycle becomes. The research even shows that certain genetic variants in serotonin signaling make some teenagers neurologically more prone to social media addiction, meaning some kids were never on a level playing field to begin with. Now let's talk about 3 dangers hiding inside your child's daily scroll that most people have never connected to social media at all. The first one is something researchers are now calling Snapchat dysmorphia. AI-powered filters now reshape faces in real time: slimmer nose, bigger eyes, smoother skin, perfect jawline. And teenagers are staring at these altered versions of themselves for hours every day. Researchers have identified a rising form of body dysmorphic disorder where teenagers seek cosmetic procedures to look like their own filtered images in real life. Studies confirm that the more time a teenager spends engaging with filtered images and selfie culture, the higher their likelihood of pursuing cosmetic surgery, driven not by vanity, but by a clinically recognized mental health disorder. The second danger is cyberbullying, and it is far more destructive than most adults understand. Online anonymity has created a bullying environment more dangerous than anything that existed in school hallways. Victims of cyberbullying show significantly higher rates of self-harm and suicidal ideation, and unlike traditional bullying, there is no escape. It follows them home, into their bedroom, into the night. The most alarming part? Platforms consistently fail to remove harmful content even after it's reported, leaving teenagers exposed to repeated, escalating trauma. The third danger is what researchers are calling the ADHD Accelerator. Short-form video content, TikToks, Reels, YouTube Shorts, delivers dopamine hits every 15 to 30 seconds. The brain adapts, it begins demanding that speed from everything. Homework, reading, and conversation in real life can't compete. The data shows that increased social media use directly worsens ADHD symptoms, particularly impulsivity and the inability to delay gratification. And for teenagers who already have ADHD, the effect is even more severe. Now, before this becomes overwhelming, here's what the research says actually works. Because there are real, proven solutions. The first is cognitive behavioral therapy, adapted specifically for compulsive internet and social media use. The results are remarkable. Over 95% of patients were able to manage their compulsive social media use after just 12 weekly sessions, with 78% maintaining that recovery 6 months later. It works by restructuring the thought patterns that drive compulsive digital behavior, not by demanding cold turkey abstinence in a world where screens are unavoidable. The second solution is a parenting strategy most people get completely backwards. Research is clear on one thing: monitoring without communication backfires. Teenagers shut down. They hide usage, they find workarounds. What works is open conversation. Parents who discuss online experiences with their children, not lecture, but genuinely engage, raise teenagers who are more likely to report problems and seek help. Set limits together, create tech-free zones, explain the why. That combination is what the data consistently supports. The third solution comes from inside the classroom. School-based anti-cyberbullying programs reduce bullying victimization by up to 16%. Social-emotional learning programs, teaching self-awareness, responsible decision-making, and relationship skills, have been shown to reduce cyberbullying and fundamentally improve how teenagers navigate online spaces entirely. And the fourth solution is one of the simplest, and one of the most underestimated. A 2024 systematic review confirmed that gradually reducing social media use leads to significant reductions in depressive symptoms. Not quitting entirely, gradually reducing. That distinction matters, especially for teenagers already dependent on these platforms for social connection. Social media is not inherently evil. It connects, it creates, it can even support mental health when used responsibly. But the science published in 2025 is impossible to ignore. Unmonitored, unrestricted access to algorithmically designed platforms is reshaping adolescent brains, affecting attention, mood, identity, and mental health at a scale we have never seen before. The dopamine trap is real. The crisis is real. But so are the solutions. The question is whether we act on what we now know, or keep scrolling past it. If this opened your eyes, share it with one parent who needs to see it. Subscribe for more research-backed content. And drop a comment. How much screen time does your child get daily? Let's talk about it below.